Hey YouTube, Kiratwig here, bringing you all an update to my Madolche Yugioh deck profile for Post the Infinite Forbidden. We got some new extra deck monsters along with some new main deck support for the Madolche deck from the latest Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster set. I've always been a fan of Madolche. It's a deck I've had for a good while, and it was actually the deck I used at Sneak Preview. Very happy with the results from the deck as well. So I figured I'd share the deck list that I used for the Sneak Preview tournament with the lineup that we have, and with the more and more Madolche support we get, the more and more, I think we have like 7 extra deck monsters now for the Madolches to use, which is pretty awesome all together. But let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the main deck monsters. For our Madolche monsters, we're running the 1 copy of Pudding Cess. This is really all we need for the numbers for Pudding Cess in the deck, because then we can just have the special summon of Pudding Cess to the field with our Petting Cessor. So just the 1 of copy to make use of when we go into our Madolche Pudding Cess Chocolate a la mode. So you have the destruction power off this card, and then the Madolches also have the shuffle back option. When this card in our possession is destroyed by an opponent's card and sent to the graveyard, to shuffle it into the deck. So that all the Madolche monsters also have that shuffle back power. For our 3 ofs, we run 3 copies of Madolche Madolche. If it's in your possession, destroyed and sent to the graveyard by your opponent, shuffle it into the deck, and when it's normal or flip summon, you can add 1 Madolche monster from your deck to your hand, just having more search power for some of our other Madolche monsters. We can grab our Petting Cessor and then have the no monsters in the graveyard to special summon this card onto the field using it. But before we get to Petting Cessor, we run the 3 copies of Angeli as well. You can tribute this card to special summon 1 Madolche monster from your deck, and if you do, it cannot be destroyed by battle. You can only use each of the effects of Angeli once per turn. If it's sent to the graveyard, having the same shuffle back effect. So being able to tribute off our Angeli to special summon out a Hoot Cake can then have the Angeli in the graveyard for us to then have the banish cost for our Hoot Cake to then grab another special summon from the deck. With the last of our 3 ofs for the Madolche monsters being the 3 copies of Petting Cessor. If this card is destroyed, having the same shuffle back power. And then you can only use each of the following effects of Petting Cessor once per turn. If you have no monsters in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if it's special summon, you can special summon 1 Madolche monster from your hand or deck, except for Petting Cessor. If you do, reduce its level by 1. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn, except for Madolche monsters. This is what I mentioned before. You special summon out your Petting Cessor, you summon out your Pudding Cess, reducing the level by 1. And then you can overlay the 2 together into your rank 4 Madolche of choice. For the lower numbers for the Madolche, 2 copies of Messenger Gelato with this card having the same shuffle back effect, and if it's special summon, when you can add 1 Madolche Spiral Trap from your deck to your hand, you must control a face-up Madolche Beast monster to activate and resolve this effect. So this is the card you can summon off of Hoot Cake, because then you'll summon out your Messenger Gelato, you'll get the effect to search out a Madolche Spiral Trap, which we run a good majority of 1 ofs in the deck, but it doesn't really matter for that setup because there are plenty of other cards that we can use in the deck for that search and power. Even our new Link monster, Madolche Mini Meowcaroons, can add a Madolche card when it is Link summoned. And then lastly, for the Madolche monsters, 2 copies of Madolche Hoot Cake, with this card having the same shuffle back power. Then you can banish 1 monster in your graveyard to special summon 1 Madolche monster from your deck, except for Hoot Cake. So it could be any monster. Even your hand traps that we run can be banished off of Hoot Cake for its summon. The 1 engine I really liked playing in the deck is the Vernisylph engine. 3 copies of Misting Seedlings, the 1 copy of Flourishing Hills, and the 1 Awakening Forest. The Vernisylph monsters all share a discard option with this card in 1 monster or Vernisylph card for this card to have a different effect. With the Misting Seedlings, you can discard this in 1 other monster or a Vernisylph card to add 1 Earth Fairy monster from your deck to your hand, which we run a good majority of Earth Fairy monsters in the deck to be able to add off of this card. And then also with this card, you can special summon 1 Earth monster from your graveyard. So depending on the Earth monster, you can even grab another Madolche monster that was sent off of the Misting Seedlings to summon back onto the field. The Flourishing Hills for its discard to add a Vernisylph card, so you can use it in another card to grab Seedlings, and then your Awakening Forest can send a Earth Fairy or Earth monster from that set and setup for the graveyard as well. And then they all have the special summon effect to resolve also afterwards with their first initial effect, giving you a resource after the discard onto the field also. And then for the hand trap lineup, I run 3 copies of Herald of the Orange Light. This is just a very, very strong card in the deck. When your opponent activates a monster effect, you can send this card on one other fairy from your hand to the graveyard to negate the activation and destroy it. So any other fairies that we have, whether they be our Petting Sessor, our Angeli, you name it, we have plenty of send power with these cards, including our Vertisylph monsters to send off of Herald of the Orange Light to make use of this monster effect negation and destruction. And then for the rest of the main deck monsters, 3 copies of Ash Blossom and 2 copies of Effect Veiler. You have the lineup with the Herald of the Orange Light and these monsters, which I find to be plenty, and then the infinite impermanences for the trap lineup. For the spells, we're actually running one-ofs for the Madolche cards. 1 Chateau, 1 Ticket, and the 1 Salon, just because they're searchable now, and much more easily searchable. You have Messengelato, you have Mini Meowcaroons, you have the Shuffle Back Boost Power and Add Back Power of Chateau, the Special Summon Power and Recycle Power from the deck of Ticket, and the additional Normal Summon Power of Saloon, or Salon. I think it's Salon, definitely not Saloon. You know, Madolche monsters going to a Salon. But during your main phase, being able to Normal Summon 1 in addition, and if another Madolche card in your control or your graveyard is add to your hand or shuffled into your main deck, by an effect, you can set 1 Madolche's Power Trap directly from your deck, which can be used to help grab the new Madolche Dessert, a very, very strong trap card that we run in the deck also. And then for the rest of the spells, 3 copies of Pot of Prosperity and the 1 copy of Call by the Grave, more hand trap shutdown, and then we have a wide variety of multiples for our Madolche monsters. So just being able to banish a couple to grab a proper search. I would say I was doing more of a 3 of banish for the most of the time with the Pot of Prosperity, just needing 1 more card to extend my play thanks to it. For the traps, I run 2 copies of Madolche Dessert. This could honestly be a one-of. If you want to, you could drop down 1 copy to put in a 3rd copy of Effect Veiler. With this card, you target 2 effect monsters on the field, including a Madolche monster. Return those effect monsters to the hand/extra deck. Then you can special summon 1 Madolche monster from your hand or extra deck with attack less than or equal to the total original attack of those returned monsters. If a Madolche card is shuffled from your graveyard into the deck or extra deck while this card's in the graveyard, except during the damage step, you can attach this card to an Xyz monster you control, giving you Xyz power, but also a special summon power for some of your other Madolche monsters from the extra deck to use. And the 1 copy of Madolche Promenade. Target a face-up card your opponent controls and 1 Madolche monster you control in your graveyard. Negate the effects of that opponent's card. And if you do, return your monster to your hand. You can banish this card from your graveyard to target a Madolche Xyz monster you control and attach 1 Madolche monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard to it as a Xyz material. So if we have another chocolate a la mode without a pudding cess, we can help to attach onto it that 1 pudding cess to use also. And then the rest of the main deck traps, 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, along with the Ash Blossoms and the Effect Veilers, and the Herald of the Orange Light. I'd say it was a fine lineup for hand traps to use against our opponent also. And then for the extra deck monsters, as I said, the good majority of the extra deck are Madolche cards, which I found to be a lot of fun for sure. The 2 copies of Queen Tiara Misu. Once per turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, target up to 2 Madolche cards in your graveyard, shuffle those cards into the deck, then shuffle cards your opponent controls into the deck. So shuffle back power that does not target is always very strong. It can activate Ticket, so you have a good variety of cards to use thanks to it. The 2 copies of Madolche Teacher Glass Souffle. Quick effect, you can detach 1 material from this card, target 1 Madolche monster on the field. This turn, that face-up card is unaffected by monster effects, is up its own. And if a Madolche card is sent to the graveyard while this card is on the field, except during the damage step, you can shuffle up to 2 cards from the graveyards into the deck, even your opponents, making it a great way just to shuffle back resources as well using this card. Our new rank 5 monster is Madolche Queen Tiara Phrase. Once per turn, you can also Xyz summon Tiara Phrase by using Madolche Queen Tiara Misu you control, transfer the materials to this card, and once per opponent's turn, quick effect, you can detach 1 material from this card, target up to 2 Madolche cards in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, and shuffle the same number of cards your opponent controls into the deck also. And if this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card and sent to your graveyard, return this card to the extra deck. So you can use your own Tiara Misu on your turn, then overlay into your Tiara Phrase to have ready for your opponent's turn also. And then the 2 copies of Madolche Pudding Cess Chocolate a la Mode. You can also Xyz summon this using a rank 4 lower Madolche Xyz monster, transferring the materials as well. And then you can target a Madolche card in your graveyard, shuffle it into the deck. While this card is Pudding Cess's material, when a Madolche card in your graveyard shuffle into the main deck, except during the damage step, you can detach 1 material from this card to special summon 1 Madolche monster from your deck in attack position or face down defense position. More setup thanks to the recycle power this card can provide as well, while just having Pudding Cess on it. And then the 1 copy of Abyss Dweller, the 1 copy of Baguska, and then the 1 Zeus and the 1 Typhoon to be able to overlay with some of our other Xyz plays, and then just more of the generic rank 4 lineup. And for our Link monsters, I'm running 2 copies of the new Madolche Mini Meowcaroons, needing 2 or more effect monsters, including a Madolche monster. So you just need the 1 Madolche even to make this, so I can use some of my other generic extract monsters, if need be, to summon it out. If it's Link Summon, you can add 1 Madolche card from your deck to your hand. You can target 1 monster in your graveyard, special summon 1 Madolche monster from your hand. If you do, shuffle that target into the deck. Also, you can activate monster effects for the rest of the turn, except for Madolche monsters. You can only use each effect of Mini Meowcaroons once per turn, but search power, because you can just add the Madolche card that you can then summon off of this card, as long as you have the graveyard resource as well. And since it will just be sent to the graveyard off of the Link Summon, there's a good chance you'll have a Madolche card in there also, with the last card being the Madolche Fresh Sistart, as more of a protection for our Madolche spell or traps on the field, and also just a way to climb up into the Link 3 to use also. And then as for some of the go-to plays in the deck, as I said, Madolche monsters are a big part of setting up the play, since they are a part of the deck. If you normal summon out your Madeline, you can use her effect to then add your Petting Sessor to your hand. You'll have no monsters in your graveyard, so you can just summon out your Petting Sessor. And then if this card's special summon, you can special summon 1 Madolche monster from your deck or hand, except for Petting Sessor. So then you can use this card's summon to then grab to the field your Pudding Cess. So once you summon out the Pudding Cess, you'll then have your level 4 monster being your Pudding Cess. You can overlay the 2 together. So then with this play, you can either, depending on if it's your turn or your opponent's turn, you can go into the Tiramisu, having the monster ready to go. You just don't have the shuffle back power yet with this card. So I would say the better play to rely on is to go for the Glass Souffle, being able to detach 1 off of this card. Make sure you leave the Pudding Cess on it. And then you could target a Madolche monster on the field. It's unaffected by monster effects this turn. Then you can go for the additional overlay into your Chocolat a la mode, overlaying over the rank 4 monster as well. And once per turn, you can target a Madolche monster in your graveyard, shuffle it into the deck, and while it has Pudding Cess material, you can then, when this card is shuffled into the main deck, detach 1 material from this card to special summon 1 Madolche monster from your deck in attack position or face down. So then you'll have the additional detach for your summon of another Madolche monster from your deck in attack position or face down defense. So then you can use that monster in the graveyard as the banish resource for the Hootcake, banishing the Glass Souffle for Hootcake to then be able to summon out to the field your Messengelato. Messengelato will activate, allowing you to then grab another Madolche spell or trap. You can grab Ticket or whatever you want for that additional setup as well. You then have the option to go into another rank 4 play. You can go into Tiramisu, or you can go into the Link 3 option of your Mini Meowcaroon. This will give you 1 additional search as well for your Madolche card, so you can use it to either add a Madolche spell or trap again. So with this one, you can go for the Madolche Dessert off of this play, and then have the Link 3 set up as well as that card. And then depending on the card also, you could also grab your, instead of the trap, the Madolche monster of choice, because then you can use Mini Meowcaroon's effect to shuffle that target 1 Madolche monster from your hand, and then shuffling that card into the deck. With this card targeting the monster in your graveyard, so you can shuffle back the Messengelato, summoning out the Angeli, and then use the Angeli tribute for 1 additional Madolche summon onto the field, depending on the monster that you may want to grab from there also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. And as always, having a lot of fun with the Infinite Forbidden set. There's just a lot to use in the set for a lot of older decks, which is what I like as well. It seems to be that older decks are the main focus for the Infinite Forbidden set. So always awesome there for sure for a lot of retro Yu-Gi-Oh fans. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Twig out.